Thank you all for joining us. This is the What's New session for Launchpad.io, and excited to have everybody on. And basically, I'm going to be your moderator and facilitate through today. And we're going to have some good announcements and questions. And then as we go through, certainly if you have questions, post them in the chat. And so let's get into the next slide. All right. So in terms of the agenda, we're just going to do a panel style discussion like we normally do. Really the four key things that we're going to introduce today and focus on is subscription entitlement management, talk about enhancements to our user onboarding for subscribers, and then look at AWS Signature Support, and then also adding GenAI to workflows, which is a pretty powerful capability, which we're already seeing good adoption with some of our providers. And then, as I said, we're going to go into Q&A, so feel free to submit your questions, and we'll address those towards the end, and then we'll wrap up. So again, I'm Jason Mastroianni. I run go-to-market and Pega Ventures, and specifically go-to-market for Launchpad. I am accompanied by Frank Apap, who is leading the Launchpad provider success team. I think probably many of you already know Frank. And then the team that's going to introduce the capabilities is Prashanthi, and then Sudhakar and Dilip. And we'll get into each of their sections, and then kind of go through a panel style discussion, and we'll roll right into it. All right, so before we get started, we've got a couple upcoming webinars. So we have one, a joint webinar with AWS coming up on September 11th, creating agentic workflows. And that's really focused on primarily new people to Launchpad, primarily software companies looking to build agentic workflow products. And we've got a speaker from AWS joining us for that as well, so that's going to be exciting. And then we've got our next What's New session that's going to be on October 16th. And if you remember, these What's New sections are really focused on existing providers to help you understand some of the latest things that are coming out, understand those latest features, make the best use of them, and see really what the benefits are from a business value perspective. But certainly there may be folks that have joined today that are new to Launchpad. So encourage you to stay on, learn about these new capabilities, and then feel free to reach out to me or Frank with questions, and certainly check out our website at launchpad.io. All right, so Prashanthi, we're going to get started with subscription entitlement management. So you want to take us away?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jason. So let's start with understanding what subscription entitlement management really is. It's process of controlling and customization, which features or capabilities that each subscriber or the customers can access based on their subscription plans. We often see that SaaS providers need to tailor application needs or application behavior based on what each subscriber has purchased, right? Whether it's access control or giving them more GenAI features or user experience that is very specific to their use case. Providers need to ensure that all subscribers who have paid for certain features can really get them and use them. So in a nutshell, subscription entitlement management is all about how providers can deliver customized experiences to their subscribers based on their licensing.
Awesome. Wow, that's really cool. So that means that people that are, or organizations building on Launchpad, it's much easier for them now out of the box to create different pricing tiers for their clients with different levels of services and features and capabilities?
That's exactly correct. So we can take an example. In this case, imagine a point of sale application offered by Customer Hub. It comes in 3 tiers: starter, scale, and growth. And the growth tier has customer delivery option. Now, how do providers do that, right? In traditional ways, they have to build different application versions or introduce complex logic into their application, then have to deploy different versions of the applications to these subscribers. And it gets really difficult to manage these applications. It becomes confusing as their subscriber growth is getting bigger and bigger. It becomes hard for providers to give these tailored experiences. And so that's why managing these entitlements we made it simpler in Launchpad so that providers can create these customized experiences without creating multiple applications.
That's really cool. So, one of the things we always talk about is Launchpad is all about helping software companies focus on the core value proposition and not get caught up in low-level stuff, right? So just as you were saying, they don't have to spend a lot of time doing custom coding and things to build entitlement management capability because we're really providing that to them as part of the platform, right?
Right.
That's good.
And we do that by leveraging what we call configuration settings, right? We don't want to go to the traditional ways of building multiple applications. So providers can define what those configurations are. So in this case, the growth tier, if it has a different experience, they can define that in the application. And during the provisioning of a subscription to their customers, they can actually set that configuration, what that value is, and that dictates the experience that this customer is going to get, all based off the same application. Don't need to create different versions. The business logic then leverages this setting that they're given to this customer and just provides that experience to the subscriber.
Wow. Okay. So this is like really helps them with monetization because, as we know, winning customers is hard and go to market's expensive these days. And so, you can first win a client at a lower tier, and now you've got ways to upsell them and, sell higher tiers to increase your expansion revenue within those accounts.
Absolutely. The one of the great advantage is faster innovation, right? So the providers are not getting bogged down by how do they create these, how do they upgrade their customers for different tiers or plans. So when a subscriber is in a separate different plan and they want to upgrade, all the provider needs to do is after provisioning, come into their subscription record and change the entitlement, value to whatever the tier that they have purchased. And the beauty of this is it doesn't require any redeployment. The change gets reflected instantaneously, and the subscriber experience reflects that right away. No redeployment, no upgrade necessary. So it allows providers to deliver faster innovation and deliver the right experience to the right customer at the right time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. That's good. Any other benefits that providers get from this entitlement management compared to kind of traditional methods that you want to highlight?
I think it really comes down to what we were just talking about, faster delivery, right? You're not again bogged down by having multiple versions. You're not worried about the subscribers having different versions of the same application, which is we all know it's a bottleneck and a nightmare for upgrades and scalability. So I would really put that getting the faster innovation, secure and control access, right? Providers can now control only how subscribers get access to these features. Only authorized subscribers who have purchased or who have certain licensing gets those features. So it all comes down to license compliance, data security, instant updates, no wait. You just change it and subscribers get it instantaneously. Again, that's just faster innovation and providing the right value at the right time.
Nice. And so I may have missed this, but did you say where app providers can configure these settings?
Yeah, so in the application, we have in the application settings, we have now given an option called provider managed configurations.
Right.
So in that page, you can list down whatever configurations, tier or number of user access limits or GenAI features, whatever your configuration that you want to manage the entitlement record, you can set it in the app settings of your application.
Okay, nice. Can a subscriber change these configurations?
Yeah, absolutely. We made it so flexible. Again, that's the power of Launchpad and configuration settings in general is it's very flexible. So we have exposed the settings to the provider. Now, if their intention is to allow the subscribers to change them, they could choose it. They could expose these settings and subscribers would see them in their configuration experience. Again, if the provider choose to do, they can do anything they want with this feature that we have.
Nice. This is exciting. Thanks for sharing it. Anything else you want to share before we move on to our next capability?
I do want to mention that it only right now we have any scalar values that you can set here. Again, anytime the provider wants to change after upgrade, after provisioning, the provider can change it anytime. There is no restriction of when this can be done. So yeah, I think this is a great feature, allowing the providers to manage the subscriber entitlements, dynamically provide these tailored experiences. And we try to give full control over this experience to providers, and so they can choose what they want to do with their subscribers. So we're excited and looking forward for some feedback.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I look forward to seeing some of our providers build these tiered plans and to see them deploy these things and help them ultimately grow their businesses and expand their revenue based on this new capability. So thanks so much.
That's our goal.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right.
Yep.
So let's talk about how we're enhancing the user onboarding.
Hi. So as of today, Launchpad already have some user management capabilities built into the platform. But for that user onboarding to happen, a user should be a subscriber administrator. He should have that level of access, which is very elevated, and then he needs to log into the portal and then do the user onboarding activities. So we have various providers who have come up with a lot of requirements saying that they need flexibility in terms of onboarding the users from the runtime application itself instead of logging into the portal. And they want flexibility in terms of they want to build the user onboarding experience the way they want. And they want flexibility in terms of the customization of emails that we send to our users. Okay, so the changes that we brought into our user onboarding experience is there are two areas that we changed. One is the changes that we introduced in the persona flow, and then we have some out-of-the-box automations that were shipped in the platform, which enables our providers to build applications in such a way that a user can be onboarded during runtime. In a case flow, they can build in such a way that they capture the details and they can create the user onboarding. And very important to note is that these changes are applicable, or this solution is focused to applications which are Launchpad IDM enabled and or persona enabled, because this solution is purely based on persona concept and Launchpad IDM.
Okay, great.
And as I said, so we have made some changes to the persona flow. As of today, if you see, you log into an application and you, depending on your access, you are able to create a user of a persona type. This happens in two steps. One step is you create a persona and you enter the details of the user and submit. That creates a local user. But at this point, the user who got onboarded will not have any information. For that to propagate or for that to be shared to the user, the next step should happen. A user who is a subscriber administrator needs to log into the portal and then he needs to map the access and then hit submit. That's when an automated email will be generated and it will be shared to the user who got onboarded. Now that email will contain all the details of the link of the application, his initial credentials and all. So this is two-step process, and it also doesn't remove the dependency of having a user who is a subscriber administrator. So what we did after is that we made this process very seamless without having that as a two-step process. We made it in such a way that we made the change to the persona flow, where in the runtime, when you hit a user edition with a particular persona, you enter the details of the user, you hit submit. Automatically on the back end, we take care of creating those user entry records and sending that invitation email to the user. So this makes it very seamless to the providers and to the end users who basically want to onboard users during runtime.
Nice. And so is that so give me an example, like a subscriber organization has their administrator that gets provisioned, the first user, right? And then now they want to add more users. So kind of walk me through, just as a non-technical person, kind of what happens then.
Okay, so we have different types of users, right? We have administrator users who are subscriber admins and configuration managers who are type of admin types. And then we have users who are part of the application, right? The initial users are still onboarded using the initial onboarding process, right? That is a very prescriptive we follow, right? So that still stays the same. The admin users are still onboarded the usual way that we do today. However, this change is very much focused on onboarding end users. All right.
Yep.
And the main problem that we are solving here is we are allowing our providers to build in such a way that they can build their own user onboarding experience during a case flow. And we are eliminating the need of having someone having a very elevated access like subscriber administrators.
Got it. Okay, awesome. As we've got the video running here, do you want to just talk through what we're seeing?
Yeah, so this video basically demonstrates a use case where this out-of-the-box automation that we are shipping as part of the platform, it gives the flexibility in terms of the way you design the case flow. And during the case flow, if you find a way or if you find a need to onboard a user during a case flow, you can do it in the way you want. Either you call this automation in a case action, or you can call this automation as an outcome. So either ways, this automation gives that flexibility to create the user. The video that you're seeing here, it's the kind of medical officer who wants to onboard or create a pre-authorization form. Before sending it to the insurance company, he wants to route that pre-authorization form to a authorization specialist who reviews the form. But he doesn't found that user in the system. So what he does is he uses a case-wide action to create that user, onboard that user to this application, and route that particular assignment to that user. And then automatically that user will receive an email which contains the application link, his credentials, and using those credentials, he can log into the application and see his assignment and work on that.
Got it. That's awesome. Okay, great. Okay, and I think you already talked a bit about how we can onboard subscriber admin users and configuration managers using this approach as well, right?
Yep. So this approach, the solution is focused on onboarding the end users, not the administrator users. Those admin users are still onboarded the way that we do today currently. We need the initial user will be onboarded when we onboard the subscriber organization itself, right? He will be the initial user. And that initial subscriber admin, if he wants to onboard another configuration manager or he want to make another user a subscriber administrator, he will still use the administration portal to create those user onboardings for admin users.
Okay. And so existing applications that companies have already built that are non-persona based, can those leverage this solution?
No, so this solution is, as I said, is purely based on persona-enabled applications. And what the plan for them is for the existing applications, there is a plan to migrate all those applications to persona-enabled applications so that those applications can also leverage this solution.
Okay, all right. And that's something they can do themselves or they need our help with?
So the migration activity, I think that is something that we'll be helping out. And once those applications are migrated, this particular solution that we are now seeing can be done or can be built by our customers.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Anything else you wanted to share about this?
Yeah, so one thing I would like to say that this particular automation and enhancement in our persona-based flows really provides a lot of flexibility in terms of the way the user onboarding experience is built by providers. So that's a great thing that we built, and I think we received a very good feedback on this as well.
That's great. Yeah, look forward to seeing it get used. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about AWS Signature Support, something I love personally. And not an area that I'm an expert in. So tell us a bit about what this is and why it's important.
Okay, so we recently made this change where we added one more option to our authentication profile, a new authentication profile type, AWS Signature. this AWS Signature basically provides, it's a cryptographic protocol which ensures that all the requests that you're making to AWS services are authenticated properly while consuming. So this adds a lot of value in terms of the establishing the security between the calls that we make from our application to AWS services.
Okay.
And it standardizes the way we talk to these services. So previously we used to achieve this, we wrote some custom code to generate this signature and then connect to AWS services, which is not the standard way of doing. However, and from the ease of configuration also, the changes that we introduced will let the providers to configure them in a very easy way. And it brings a seamless and secure communication between AWS services on our application.
So let me just make sure I understand correctly. So Launchpad runs on AWS. We have many services that are part of our development runtime environment that we fully manage, that a developer on Launchpad doesn't have to worry about, right?
Yes.
This becomes important for when they want to augment those capabilities with other AWS services that they can leverage, and makes it a much easier way to go do that. Is that true?
Yeah. So let me give an example. So you are building a case, a workflow where you find a need to send an attachment to AWS service with, say, AWS text extract, for example,
Sure.
which basically extracts the text from the image that you sent and returns you information that you can consume in your case flow.
Yeah.
So for that integration to happen, you need to have this profile to be created and build that integration, right? So during your case flow, that communication between your application, the case flow, and the AWS service is now secured in a standard way using this AWS signature.
Okay. Yeah, that's a huge value add, making it easy to really enrich a company's application in an easy way with all the other AWS services. That's very cool.
Majority of the AWS services are now, AWS recommends that you have to basically use signature to connect to these services.
Yeah.
So this is a great value for sure.
Yeah. So basically this is helping the developer user experience. It's helping for operational efficiency. Yeah. Okay. Great. Awesome. Anything else you want to share on this before we move on?
Yeah, I think that's good. Definitely. This is kind of, I would say, a small work that we did, but with very huge business value.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It seems like a small thing, but it's one of those things that really opens up the aperture in terms of opportunity for companies to get really creative with what they can implement.
Yep.
Thank you so much. This is great.
Thank you.
All right. So now moving on to one of my favorites, which is adding GenAI into workflows. So we've been talking about this for a bit, and personally very excited about this. So take it away.
Yes, and a quick background. In Launchpad, we have always focused on providing easy and intuitive experiences that enable powerful functionalities, and this is also applicable for integrating generative AI. Everyone is excited about bringing in generative AI capabilities, and they look forward to easier configurations. That's where this feature we have brought in. It's a new rule type GenAI Connect rule, which is the out-of-the-box capability to integrate GenAI into workflows seamlessly. This enables provider developers to achieve use cases like summarization, content generation, explanation, extraction, and whatnot. You can imagine the possibilities.
Yeah. So previously, our providers were using our REST integrations to build out their own connections to other GenAI systems. They can still do that, right? And then we have our out-of-the-box pre-built integration, which basically allows them to leverage our service. They don't need to have separate keys, separate accounts, and so on. So talk a little bit more about that.
Sure. So traditionally, when you think of integrating with generative AI, there are a lot of factors to consider. What model to use, how much to pay, how to provision, how to manage the security, privacy, etc., and etc. So all of this is entirely offloaded, and we are managing everything because we offer Pega GenAI services. And what's more amazing is that all these capabilities are natively included. You just have to configure and choose the right model for your respective use case, play around and ensure everything seamlessly connects, and you are done. You can see amazing results in your applications, and therefore your end users will also reap a lot of benefits.
And I'd imagine for a non-technical developer, this makes it really easy to add AI capabilities, right?
That's 100% because as you could see, by just giving a natural language description and by just selecting your model, we are also generating the prompt behind the scenes, which means the system and user prompts are now leveraging prompt engineering best practices, etc. You just have to go and configure what is more needed. What else would make your workflow complete is what you would be concentrating, and everything else is now taken care in the rule itself.
Wow. So it's not doing AI code generation, it's actually allowing a non-technical user to actually, in a no-code way, integrate powerful AI capabilities.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
mere mortals like myself could even do it probably. So
100%.
all right.
Yeah, so
Show us how this is done with the developer.
Sure. So developers would typically start with creating the GenAI Connect rule that is found under the integration category right now. And by just filling in the description, like I said, natural language, and choosing the model, the moment I submit, you could see that the prompt is automatically generated with a beautifully formatted way. And now I could go further and add in more requirements as a need. For example, I'm now sending dynamic inputs here. As you could understand, the dynamism makes your application more robust. So I'm sending the real data by choosing the fields that are present in my case type, and I'm choosing the data properties here basically. And the experience is also very intuitive. You have powerful capabilities like formatting built in, and the moment I save it, I am ready now to go and integrate back into my workflow. So I'm just accessing the case type here, which is the campaign content generation. So the use case is that I'm trying to generate emails automated way. So I went into an automation rule, and I'm just now selecting the GenAI Connect rule from the available options. So whatever we have chosen would be listed over here when I start typing, or even if I can choose from the source from library option. So this way we are now helping you to complete your authoring. And the moment I launch my preview, I can quickly test this in the workflow as we saw. So basically we are trying to achieve the use case of by giving target audience, campaign theme, campaign name, and some demographics. I wanted to generate a tailored email content. As you could see, in minutes, we could achieve this use case seamlessly end to end. And I can now use that email content in further communications.
Wow. Okay. So earlier you said you have to integrate it, but actually I think of integration as like coding, but you don't have to actually truly develop and integrate like with code. You're actually just going and calling that new rule that you've built, right?
Yeah, that's true. So if you see, we did not talk about anything like REST connector, integration system, etc. Everything is now packaged in our out-of-the-box capability if you're leveraging this capability. And like I said, the models also vary. We have a bunch of them already supported, and we are looking forward for more.
Great. Great. Can you talk about which models we support now?
Sure. We're right now supporting Bedrock offering like the Claude 3 Haiku, Claude 3 700, which is the smartest and greatest model already. And we also have additional models like Gemini Flash, GPT-4o, and GPT-4o Mini at this moment. And we will look forward to add more powerful models as well, Jason.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. So and they can basically, a developer can change those and see which ones give better results and fine tune their application based on what the right model is, right?
Yeah, that's true. Depending on the use case and the complexity of what people are trying to achieve, they can definitely choose the model, play around, which is suiting their needs. They can quickly change and test out. And the cherry on top of is that the usage of these calls are also captured, and we use Launchpad units for all of this capturing and display those.
Nice, nice. Okay, this is awesome. So looks like authoring for it is easy. I can't wait to start to try and use this and build some AI apps myself. And how would one test this once it's built?
Yeah, so after you create your GenAI Connect tool, just go back to your automation where you, which is present in one of your workflows. Try to just call the GenAI Connect tool in that with our generating expression with AI you can use, or you can even call it from the library itself. And once you save your automation, you can immediately test from automation. You have run capability from automation rules, as you know. You could see the result right there. But if you want to use the preview and test, that is also available for doing it from the end user perspective by putting yourself in that shoes.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. Yeah. And so, Yeah, I think it makes it really easy because now they don't have to worry about paying for other services and such. It's all essentially charged through Launchpad units. Any more detail on that in terms of the usage costs and how the calls are managed?
Yeah, sure. So all of those calls are managed through our GenAI services that Pega offers. And as I spoke, the GenAI Connect calls, each rule execution is tracked through Launchpad units. We calculate the units internally with our logic. It depends on the model that is being used, the number of tokens that we're costing behind the scenes, etc. And the usage varies based on these artifacts, and everything can be also seen in the preview. In the preview, we have Launchpad units to view the usage as well.
Nice. Very convenient. Very convenient. Okay. And so again, I, as a developer, I don't need to have a separate license for any other GenAI services. I could just consume that here. Or if I wanted to, I could, have integrations that we use just our REST connections like before.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Great. What's our strategy for adding new models as they come to market?
So we continuously evaluate new models that are from major providers, and we evaluate and then bring them on board. So stay tuned for more exciting news around this, Jason.
Okay.
All
right. And I would imagine that a use case that might be common is if I've got attachments. So could I analyze attachments with this capability as well?
So we have that in the roadmap, and
okay.
we definitely will bring that on board as well.
Okay. All right. So this is, a very powerful first step. And so obviously there's going to be a lot of new enhancements coming along to this. So that's pretty cool because that's a big use case we see. And then how do users consume complex response structures back to the model?
Yeah, we already have JSON transforms to deserialize complex structures. So where you could even compose the prompts in a more comprehensive way, where you could ask the large language model to respond in the structure that you need. And you can leverage the out-of-the-box capabilities, like I said, JSON transformation to deserialize. And we anyway have powerful data modeling capabilities. So just by mapping those, you could see the results in the screens easily.
Nice. This is fantastic. Great. Thanks so much for walking us through this. Anything else that you want to share before we move to wrap up?
Yeah, we are seeing a lot of adoption already, and we're excited for this journey. So feel free to try this out. There are a lot of benefits that you get, and it's an exciting journey in the GenAI world.
Yeah, absolutely. I've already seen some demos of provider apps that they've built using this stuff, and it's very cool. So thank you so much.
Awesome.
All right, so we'll get into Q&A. I think we've got a bunch of folks on, and so let's walk through some of the questions.
Great, thank you. So we had a question about for you, Sudhakar. I think you already kind of quickly answered this, but maybe you can enlighten a little bit more about the migration plan for the new persona capability.
So as I mentioned, so we are actively looking into designing this plan for migrating the apps that were built before this persona capability was delivered. And once that is completed, so I think soon we will be trying to migrate those applications so that they can leverage these new capabilities that we built, which gives a lot of flexibility to the providers in building their applications.
Great. Thank you. So Dilip, we have a couple of questions for you. Any plans to allow parameters to be passed to GenAI connectors?
So we have that in the roadmap. That's definitely a must-have for a lot of people. I know the benefits out of it, so we will be giving the capability in the future.
Excellent. Another question for you, Dilip. If you're using multiple GenAI queries in the same case flow, how do you use the same context of the AI model?
Yeah, so definitely I understand that when you use GenAI Connect in multiple steps, it's a fresh new connection that you're making and calling LLM for a specific scenario, right? So there are definitely ways like you can use calculated value for your static context building and then leverage that through fields. But like I said, when we allow parameters also as a capability, you can just pass in them. But we should understand that this capability is to interact with the LLM, achieve the use case, and then the next subsequent call is again a fresh new call. It's not a chaining of call, basically.
Okay, great. Any other questions that you guys have kind of heard amongst everyone? We answered all the questions that we had. If not,
Great. I think we did a very good job of showing everybody what it was and the capabilities. So I think we probably addressed everybody's questions pretty quickly. So awesome. Thanks again for everybody for joining us. So just to wrap up, again, try these things out. Reach out to the provider success team for help and questions on these new capabilities. We're excited to see how you leverage them to go build your businesses. We've got some upcoming events. So on September 4th, we're doing a session really focused on existing providers. So one of the questions we often get is around pricing strategy, go-to-market strategy, how to do launches. And so basically we're doing a workshop on 0 to 60 go-to-market essentials. So just talking about some basics of how to launch a Launchpad app in the marketplace. And then again, we've got the September 11th agentic workflow session that's going to be really for new providers, but you're all welcome to join to learn about some of those new capabilities. And then October 16th is our next What's New. So with that, I think we're a wrap. Thank you, everybody.